The silence before the Nakana sat in her trailer, alone. The walls were thin, but the quiet felt thick. Outside, the crew packed up for the day. People laughed, yelled directions, moved lights and cables, but inside, she couldn't hear any. Of it she didn't want to. Not today. Her phone sat untouched on the small table. Her script lay open but unread on her lap. Her eyes weren't red, but they were tired. Tired in a way that makeup couldn't hide. Leaned, she blinked slowly, then stared. At the small mirror in front of her. All day she had smiled on set. All day she had done what they asked, said the lines hit her marks, but it felt hollow. There was a weight in her chest she couldn't shake. It wasn't about the role or the scene or the pressure. It was something deeper, something older. She missed her mother. It had been 1 year since she passed. And even though Anna had told no one on set, the date haunted her. The memories came in waves: her mother brushing her hair, cooking her favorite food, laughing at old songs on the radio. Now, there was only silence. A soft knock came at the trailer door. Anna didn't move. Maybe it was someone from wardrobe, or the assistant director. Maybe it was nothing. Another knock, gentle, not rushed. Anna. The voice was calm, kind, familiar. Her heart paused. She knew that voice. "It's Keanu," he said. Anna took a slow breath. She didn't expect him. They had filmed a scene together earlier, but he had left right after. He wasn't one to hover. He was respectful, thoughtful, but not intrusive. She stood up quietly, brushing her fingers through her hair. She didn't look in the mirror again. She didn't care how she looked. Something about his voice made her feel seen, not judged. Just seen. She opened the door slowly. Keanu stood there, holding a paper bag and 2 small takeaway cups. The steam rose gently from them. His face was calm, his eyes soft. "I brought you some tea," he said. "You looked like you needed it." Anna blinked, her throat tightened. She tried to speak, but her voice didn't come. Instead, she stepped aside and let him in. He walked in slowly, not saying much. He placed the bag on the table and handed her a cup. Then he sat in the small chair. Near the wall, quiet Anna sat too. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. It wasn't awkward. It was peaceful. "I didn't tell anyone," Anna said finally. Her voice was low, almost a whisper. "But today's the day my mother died." Keanu nodded. "I didn't say I'm sorry, like most people did." He just looked at her and listened. "I thought I could handle it," she continued. "Just act like it's a normal day. Be strong. But it's not working." Keanu held his cup with both hands. "Sometimes the strongest thing we can do is admit we're not okay." Anna looked at him. His words were simple, but they hit deep. "You always seem so calm," she said, "like nothing ever shakes you." He smiled softly. "That's not true. I've just learned to breathe through the waves." "How?" she asked, truly wanting to know. He leaned back a little, looking out the small window. "By remembering that pain is not weakness, it's just proof that we've loved deeply." Ina felt her chest tighten again, but this time it wasn't from sadness. It was from something else, a sense of comfort. Like someone had reached inside and lit a small candle in the dark. "Thank you," she whispered. Keanu turned to her, his eyes full of understanding. "Your mother must have been wonderful," he said, "because she raised someone with a beautiful heart." Anna's lips trembled. "What?" But for the first time all day, she smiled. It was small, fragile but real. And Keanu saw it. He didn't say more. He didn't need to. They sat together in the stillness. No scripts. No lights. Just 2 people, sharing warmth and memory. Outside, the sun dipped lower. Casting golden light through the window inside, something heavy had lifted. And as Anna looked at the man sitting across from her, quiet and kind, she realized something. Simple. Sometimes the right words don't have to be loud. They just have to be true. The smile that stays at next morning on set, something felt different. Anna walked through the crowd with the same script in her hand and the same makeup on her face. But her steps were slower, not because she was tired, but because she didn't feel like rushing anymore. Not after last night. Her smile returned, not in full, but gently. It hovered around her eyes. Her heart still ached. But it wasn't alone now. She had shared it with someone. Somehow that made all the difference. As she walked toward the makeup trailer, a few people waved or smiled at her. She nodded back. Then someone called her name. Anna. She turned. It was Keanu. He stood near the catering truck holding 2 cups again. She smiled and walked over again. She said he gave her one. Same tea. It seemed like it worked yesterday, it did. She replied. Thank you. They stood quietly for a moment, sipping. He said after a pause. You don't have to pretend all the time, Anna. Looked at him. Pretend what? That you're fine? That you're strong every minute of the day? She tilted her head. If I don't, who will? Keanu nodded slowly. I used to think that too, till I found out strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Anna thought about that. She had shown up yesterday. He had too. Do you ever talk to her? She asked softly. Your mom? Keanu nodded. Someone you lost? His eyes shifted, the way someone's eyes do when memories rise. Every day, he said. Sometimes out loud, sometimes just in my head. Anna watched him carefully. He didn't talk about himself much. Everyone on set knew he was private, gentle, humble. But not many got to hear what lived behind his quiet smile. Lost someone too, he added. A long time ago, but love doesn't disappear just because the person does. Anna felt her throat tighten again. Does it get easier? She asked. No, he said honestly. But we get stronger. They finished their tea in silence later. That day they had a scene together. It wasn't emotional in the script. It was meant to be light, playful, a small break between dramatic moments. But as they ran the lines, something unspoken passed between them. Their eyes held more than the dialogue. The camera caught it. When the director yelled cut, he looked up from the monitor. That was perfect, he said. Change a thing. Anna smiled, a little surprised. Keanu looked at her and gave a small wink. After the scene, she walked back to her trailer. Halfway there, she turned and saw him still standing near the edge of the set, talking to a crew member. He looked up, saw her looking, and gave a small wave. She waved back. Then, she stepped into her trailer. She didn't sit right away. Instead, she pulled out her phone and opened her notes app. She wrote, Dear Mama, I miss you, but someone helped me smile today. I think you'd like him. She read it back once, and saved it. There was a knock. At the door again, she opened it, expecting someone from wardrobe. But it was Keanu. Sorry, he said. Just came to return your script. I borrowed it to review our lines. She took it, smiling. Thank you. He turned to leave, but paused. The way he said, without looking back, you smiled during that last take. She laughed lightly. I did. He nodded. And it wasn't acting. He walked off. Anna stood there for a long moment, holding her script and staring at the door outside. The sky had softened into that warm, late afternoon light again. Inside, the smile stayed, and for the first time in a long time, it felt like something was growing. Not to replace the pain, not to erase the past, but to remind her that life still had gentle surprises, and maybe, just maybe, it was okay to open the door. Again. The message left behind the third day on set began with light rain. Anna arrived early. Her coat pulled close, hair tied back, no makeup yet. She liked walking in the morning drizzle. Something about it made her feel grounded, like the world was. Quiet, just for a moment. When she stepped into the makeup trailer, a note was already waiting for her on the mirror. Written in small, neat handwriting, it said, Sometimes a single word can carry more than 1,000. Kana smiled gently. It was simple, thoughtful, quiet, just like him. She touched the paper, folded it slowly, and placed it in her pocket. Keanu wasn't there yet. She didn't expect him to be. But somehow, she already felt his presence, and that thought comforted her more than she expected as she sat down for her makeup session. Her mind drifted. She remembered the night her mother used to tell her bedtime stories in Spanish. She would whisper them softly, brushing Anna's hair behind her ears. Her voice steady and warm. Anna blinked fast, trying not to cry. You okay? The makeup artist asked. Anna nodded, just thinking. A few hours later, they were filming a difficult scene. Emotionally charged, heavy dialogue, a stormy argument between their characters. It required shouting, walking away. Tension. Anna struggled to tap into it. They did 2 takes. Both fell off. On the third, Keanu stepped closer to her just before. The cameras rolled. He leaned in and whispered, "Remember, it's not about the words. It's about the truth behind them." His voice was soft, barely a breath. But it clicked something inside her. When the director said action, Kana delivered her lines with a different kind of energy. Not louder, but real. Keanu responded with quiet intensity. The air around them changed. The room fell still. When it ended, the director didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then he clapped. "Once we're done," he said, "that's the one." Anna sat down after, breathing slowly. Keanu walked over, handed her a bottle of water, and sat beside her. "You were amazing," he said simply. "Only because of what you said," she replied. "I just reminded you of what you already knew." She looked at him. His face was calm. It's kind. Always kind. "You always do that," she said. "Say the right thing at the right time." He shrugged. "I just pay attention." Anna hesitated, then asked something she'd been holding in for a while. "Why do you do it?" "Do what?" "Help me. Bring me tea, leave notes, stay behind." "When you could leave?" He looked down at the floor, thinking for a moment. "Because," he said slowly, "I know what it feels like when no one does." The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full. Anna leaned back in her chair. She didn't need to say anything more. Later that evening, she returned to her trailer and found something else. This time, a small book. An old paperback. The cover was faded, corners bent. Inside was a note. "I read this when I was lost once. Thought maybe it could help you too. No pressure to read it. It's just if you ever want a friend between the pages." Kana held the book. Close to her chest, she didn't cry, but her heart swelled, and she realized that some people come into your life not to fix everything, not to make the pain vanish, but simply to remind you that you are not alone. The rain outside had stopped. But inside her heart, something gentle kept falling soft, healing, true. The call she didn't expect, sun, came back the next day. Warm light poured across the set, casting gold on everything it touched. The mood had shifted. People smiled more. The crew moved with energy. Even the director cracked a joke before the first take. Anna noticed it. But more than that, she noticed how she felt lighter. It wasn't that her sadness had disappeared. It hadn't. But it didn't feel so heavy anymore. It had a name now. It had been shared. It had a witness. She carried Keanu's small paperback. Book in her bag. And the note stayed folded in her coat pocket. Every so often, she touched it gently. Like a secret only she and the world's quietest friend knew. Their scene that day was simple. Their characters sat at a bench, sharing food, talking about childhood dreams. Nothing dramatic, no high emotions. But it felt real. The cameras rolled. And as they spoke their lines, something unexpected happened. Keanu looked at her, not just his character, but him, with eyes that held something steady and calm. It wasn't love, not romance, attention. It was care. Real human care. When the scene ended, Anna didn't want to move. She stayed still, her hands resting in her lap. "Cut," the director said. "Beautiful. It's reset." As the crew scattered, Anna stayed seated. Keanu didn't leave either. He sat beside her, letting the moment breathe. Then he turned and said, "Have you called her?" Anna looked confused. "Who? Your sister? Or anyone in your family?" "Is she?" Blinked. "I haven't. I don't really talk about Mama with them. We all deal with it differently." "Maybe it's time," he said. "Why now?" "Because," he said, "you smiled. It's not just with your lips, but with your eyes. That means part of you is ready." Anna looked down. She hadn't spoken to her sister in weeks. Not because of a fight, just distance. Silence. Both of them. had lost the same person, but neither had known how to talk about it. Later that night, back in her trailer, Anna sat with the phone in her hand. She stared at the contact. Alina, her thumb hovered. She pressed call. The phone rang once. Twice. Then, Anna, her sister's voice was cautious, surprised. "Hey," Anna said softly. I just wanted to hear your voice." There was a pause. Then Alina said, "I've been waiting for this." They talked for 20 minutes, about nothing and everything. About their mother's old garden, about the soup she used to make, about a song she sang on Sundays. They laughed. They cried. And at one point, they were both quiet. "I miss her every day," Alina whispered. "Me too," Anna said. "But I'm glad you called." "Me too." When the call ended, Anna wiped her eyes and breathed in deep. Then she reached for the little book Keanu had given her. She opened to the first page. The smell of old paper filled the air, but before she could read, there was a soft knock. She smiled. She already knew who it was. She opened the door, and there he stood. No tea this time. No book, no notes, just him. "How'd it go?" he asked. She nodded. "Called her. We talked." He smiled, the kind of smile that didn't need words. "I'm proud of you," he said. Anna felt the words sink in, not as flattery, not as comfort, but as truth. "Can I tell you something?" she asked. He nodded. "I think you're the kind of person people only meet once in a lifetime." Keanu looked at her, surprised, and touched his heart lightly. "Thank you," he said. "But I think we all just need someone to stand at the door sometimes. Someone to remind us we're still whole, even when we feel broken." Anna stepped back, just enough to gesture for him to come in. They sat. Two quiet souls in a small room, holding space for what had passed and what could still come outside. The world continued. Inside, healing had begun. The story he never told. Next morning, Anna arrived on set a little later than usual. She had slept well for the first time in weeks. There were still shadows under her eyes, but they weren't heavy anymore. They just existed. Part of her, but not all of her. As she walked past the trailers, she caught sight of Keanu sitting alone on a bench by the garden wall near the back lot. He was reading the same paperback book he had given her, the one she hadn't yet finished. He looked peaceful, sunlight warming his shoulders. One leg crossed over the other. She walked over without saying anything and sat beside him. He looked up, smiled gently, then returned to his page. After a moment, he closed the book and placed it on his lap. "Sleep okay?" he asked. "Better," she said. They sat in silence for a few moments, just listening to the wind rustle through the trees. Nearby, then, unexpectedly, Keanu spoke. "I don't talk about this much," he said, still looking straight ahead. "But since you shared your story with me, I want to share something with you." Anna didn't interrupt. She simply turned slightly toward him, giving her full attention. "A long time ago," he began, "I was in love. Really in love. She was funny, brilliant, and kind. She used to send me poems in the middle of the day, just out of nowhere." Ina's breath caught softly. She hadn't expected this. "We talked about everything: books, life, fears. We made plans. Small ones, like where we'd eat dinner next week, and big ones, like having kids, growing old, maybe moving to some quiet island one day." He paused, looking down at the book in his lap. Then one night, everything changed. A car accident. It was quick, sudden, final. Anna placed her hand over her mouth. "I wasn't with her when it happened," he said quietly. "I was filming. On another continent. I didn't get to say goodbye." The wind moved gently between them. "For a long time," he continued, "I didn't talk about it. People assumed I was just private. But truthfully, I was broken. I went to work. I smiled. I signed autographs. But inside, I was silent." Anna's eyes welled up. And then one day, Keanu said, turning his head slightly toward her, "Someone sat next to me without asking questions. They just sat, like you did just now. And for the first time, I felt like maybe it was okay to keep living. Anna reached over and gently touched his hand. He didn't pull away. "Thank you for telling me," she whispered. "I had no idea." "Not many do," he said. "Grief teaches you to carry it quietly. But you still carry love," she added. He looked at her and nodded slowly. "Every day." They sat together, hand in hand, not as co-stars, not as people in pain, but as two hearts with cracks that now let the light in. Later, during rehearsal, Anna found it easier to laugh. Her shoulders loosened. She cracked jokes with the lighting crew. She even played a small prank on their director by switching her prop for a stuffed animal. When they took a break, Keanu passed by her trailer and found a note taped to the door. It said, "You don't have to say goodbye when someone lives in your kindness." AI smiled, quietly folding the paper and slipping it into his back pocket. As he turned to walk away, Anna opened the door behind him. "You read it?" she asked. He nodded. "You're right." Anna stepped outside, holding two small paper cups. "Tea again?" he asked. "This time it's my turn," she said. They sat down on the trailer steps, sipping together. "Can I ask you something?" she said after a moment. "Of course." "Do you ever wonder why we met now? Like, at this point in our lives?" Keanu thought about it. Double quotes, I think. He said, "Some people are meant to find each other only after they've been broken open." Why? Because only then can we see each other clearly, without masks, without fear, just real. Na nodded slowly. "I'm glad it was you," she whispered. He looked at her, his eyes full of calm warmth. "Me too." And with that, the people who had once lived in quiet grief shared something more powerful than words of connection, built not from pity or need, but from quiet understanding. It wasn't romance, it was respect, it was resilience, and it was healing. The light that stayed their final day on set came faster than either of them expected. The sun rose soft and golden, painting everything in gentle hues. It was the kind of morning that made you pause. It's not because of anything grand, but because it asked for stillness. Anna walked slowly to her trailer, already dressed for the scene. Her eyes held a quiet glow. Not the glow of someone who had forgotten pain, but someone who had made peace with it as she opened the door. Something caught her eye. A small note, folded and tucked beneath a white daisy in a glass cup. She smiled before she even opened it. "I've never met someone who carries both sorrow and light so gracefully. It's been an honor." Kana sat down gently, the note in her hands, heart full. This wasn't a goodbye. Not really. They had one more scene to film. It's a simple farewell scene. Between their characters, two people partying at a train station, it was short, quiet, full of what was not said, but behind the lines. Something real pulsed. As the cameras rolled, Anna stepped onto the platform set, her character's suitcase in hand. Keanu stood across from her, already in character. She took a breath, looked up, met his eyes. They held still. The director called action. Their lines began, but somewhere in the middle, Anna forgot she was acting. Because when Keanu said, "You'll be okay," it wasn't just a line, it was a promise. And when she replied, I know it wasn't just a reply, it was her truth. They held each other's gaze as the train sound played in the background. No one moved, no one blinked. When the director finally said cut, no one spoke. The entire crew stood quietly, some with their hands over their hearts. Anna turned to Keanu. He reached out, and they embraced longer than the scene required. Not for the camera, not for the story, it's just for them. "You were brilliant," he whispered, "because you reminded me how." She replied. The rest of the day passed in quiet goodbyes. Cast members hugged. Crew packed up equipment. Laughter and photos filled the set, but Anna stayed behind. So did Keanu. They sat one last time on the bench near the garden wall. The paperback book rested between them, its cover now even more worn, its pages marked with small folds and memories. "What will you do next?" she asked him. "Probably something small," he said. "Maybe travel. Maybe just disappear for a while. Sounds peaceful." "What about you?" "I don't know," she said. "But for once, I'm not afraid of the quiet. He nodded. Pleased, she said. Before you knocked on my door that first night, I had almost given up on finding peace. I thought maybe it was gone forever. He looked at her with calm certainty. Peace doesn't leave, he said. It waits. Anna smiled. And what you said that day, it made me smile again. He looked at her gently. That's all I hoped for. They stood slowly, the bench creaking beneath them. The garden around them swayed in the breeze. As they prepared to leave, Anna turned to him. Will we stay in touch? Always, he said. Then before walking away, he did something simple, something soft. He placed his hand over his heart. His head just slightly, and smiled. She watched him go, not with sadness, not with fear, but with gratitude. Some people enter your life quietly. They don't announce themselves with grand gestures or loud declarations. They show up with tea, with paperbacks, with presence, and without asking, they remind you that you're still whole, still strong. Still able to smile, Anna stood at the edge of the set, a daisy still in her hand, the note tucked in her coat. She didn't need to cry, because something inside her had changed, not because of one moment, but because of many small ones shared with someone who understood that kindness isn't loud, it's patient, it's steady, it knocks softly, and sometimes it stands at the door. It says just enough to make you smile again.